Hey namaste guys, and welcome back to Brain Talk. This is your host and friend Dr. D, and today let's talk about how Apple is fooling the heck out of you. So, without further ado, let's dive into the world of Apple. Apple makes popular tech iPhones, Macs, AirPods, a cultural phenomenon. But are we paying a premium for products not much better than the competition? Are we caught up in the hype? Let's unpack Apple's strategies and see if they hold up. By the end, you'll decide if they're playing fair. Let's get started. One of the things Apple absolutely nails is their marketing. They've mastered the art of creating this aura of exclusivity and desirability around their products. Think about it. The sleek product launches, the minimalist design of their stores, the iconic white packaging. It all screams premium experience. They position themselves as being on the cutting edge of innovation, even when the upgrades from year to year are incremental. This carefully crafted image leads us, the consumers, to believe that we're buying into something special, something that sets us apart. We're willing to shell out extra cash, not just for the product itself, but for the feeling it gives us, the feeling of being part of this exclusive club. But the question is, are we sacrificing actual value for the sake of brand perception? Are we getting caught up in the hype machine? Apple doesn't just sell products, they sell a feeling, an experience. They tap into our emotions, our desires. They know that we as humans crave connection, belonging, and even status. Owning an Apple product has become synonymous with a certain lifestyle, a certain image. Think about the ads, the product placements in movies and TV shows. They're not just selling you a phone, they're selling you a vision of yourself as creative, successful, and in the know. This emotional connection is incredibly powerful. It goes beyond specs and features. It's about how a product makes you feel, the image it projects, and the tribe it allows you to belong to. But this emotional connection can also cloud our judgment. It can make us overlook potential flaws, justify higher prices, and even defend the brand with an almost religious fervor. Remember, critical thinking is key. One of Apple's biggest strengths is their ability to make technology approachable and easy to use. They've always prided themselves on their user-friendly interface and their intuitive design. While other tech companies were bogging down their devices with complex menus and features, Apple kept things simple, clean, and elegant. This simplicity was a game changer. It opened up the tech world to a whole new audience, people who were intimidated by complicated gadgets. Apple made technology less scary, more human. This approach extends to their marketing as well. Their ads are clean, straightforward, and focus on the experience rather than overwhelming you with technical jargon. This demystification of technology is a huge part of Apple's appeal. It makes their products seem more accessible, more inviting. But this emphasis on simplicity can also be a double-edged sword. The simplicity that attracts some can feel limiting to others. We've all heard it and maybe even said it ourselves, it just works. It's become synonymous with Apple products, and to be fair, a lot of times it's true. Apple has built a reputation for seamless integration and a smooth user experience. But let's be real, no tech is perfect, things break, software glitches, and sometimes even Apple products can be frustrating. The problem with the "it just works" mentality is that when things do go wrong, and they inevitably will, it can be even more jarring. You're left feeling stranded, unsure of what to do because the expectation was set so high. And let's not forget about compatibility issues. Apple's closed ecosystem, while great for seamless integration within their own products, can be a pain when you're trying to use Apple devices with other platforms. So, while Apple products often do just work, it's important to remember that no tech is infallible. Don't let this marketing mantra blind you to the realities of using technology. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: planned obsolescence. This is the idea that companies, including Apple, intentionally design products to become outdated or unusable after a certain period, pushing consumers to upgrade. Now, this is a controversial topic, and there's no denying that technology naturally progresses. But there's a difference between natural advancement and intentionally limiting the lifespan of a product. Think about things like software updates that slow down older devices, batteries that degrade over time, or the lack of support for older models. These can all be seen as tactics to nudge you towards buying the latest and greatest. And Apple's been accused of this in the past, from slowing down iPhones with software updates to making it difficult and expensive to repair devices. Now, Apple argues that these practices are necessary for innovation, for security, and for maintaining a certain level of quality. But it's also hard to ignore the fact that these practices benefit Apple's bottom line. As consumers, we need to be aware of these tactics and make informed decisions. Apple's walled garden approach defines its ecosystem. They control hardware, software, and services, creating a seamless experience. Everything works together smoothly. But this also means vendor lock-in. Switching platforms is difficult and expensive. Your data, apps, and devices are tied to Apple. This can make you feel trapped, and repairs are costly. Be aware of the trade-offs.
Breaking news.
Let's be real. One of the first things that comes to mind when we think of Apple is their premium pricing. They're notorious for having some of the highest prices in the tech industry. And while Apple products are often beautifully designed and well-made, the question is, does the price always reflect the value and performance you're getting? In many cases, you can find comparable specs and features from competitors at a fraction of the cost. So what are you really paying for when you buy Apple? Part of it is the brand perception, the aura of exclusivity we talked about earlier. But are those intangible benefits worth the price premium? That's a question only you can answer. It's important to be honest with yourself about your budget and your priorities. Are you willing to pay extra for the Apple experience, or are you more concerned with getting the best value for your money? Apple has mastered the art of the incremental upgrade. They've become experts at releasing new models with subtle improvements, often just enough to create buzz and entice you to upgrade. We see this year after year with their iPhones, iPads, and even their Macs. A slightly faster processor, a new camera lens, a slightly redesigned chassis. These are the hallmarks of Apple's incremental approach. And while these improvements aren't necessarily bad, the question is, are they significant enough to warrant a whole new device? They're essentially repackaging existing technology and selling it as new and innovative. This strategy is particularly effective because it plays on our desire to have the latest and greatest gadgets, but this constant cycle of incremental upgrades can be exhausting and expensive. Let's talk about storage, or rather, the lack thereof. Apple is notorious for offering limited storage options on their base models, often starting with a paltry amount that can fill up quickly. This forces you to make a choice, either constantly manage your storage, deleting files and apps to free up space, or pay a premium for more storage through iCloud, or by purchasing a higher-end model. And let's be real, Apple's iCloud storage plans can be pricey, especially when you compare them to competitors like Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. They're essentially holding your data hostage, forcing you to pay a recurring fee to access your own files. This tactic is particularly frustrating because it preys on our need for storage in an increasingly digital world. We rely on our devices to store our photos, videos, documents, and everything in between. Storage should be affordable and accessible, not a luxury feature that you have to pay through the nose for. Apple has positioned itself as a champion of privacy, and to their credit, they've taken some positive steps in that direction. They've implemented features like app tracking transparency and on-device processing to give users more control over their data. But let's not forget that Apple is still a for-profit company, and like all companies, they collect data on their users. While they might not be selling your data to third-party advertisers in the same way that some other companies do, they're still using your data to improve their products, target you with advertising within their own ecosystem, and generate revenue. It's important to be aware of the data that Apple collects, how they use it, and who they share it with. Read their privacy policies, understand the implications of the features you use, and be mindful of the data you're sharing. Privacy is about making informed choices and demanding more transparency from companies like Apple. So, there you have it. We've explored some of the tactics that Apple uses, from their marketing prowess to their product design choices, and examined whether they're truly offering us something exceptional or simply playing on our perceptions. It's clear that Apple is a master of branding and creating a desirable image. Their products are often beautifully designed, easy to use, and well integrated, but they also come with a premium price tag, and it's important to be critical of whether that price is justified. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to buy Apple is a personal one. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Let us know in the comments what you think about Apple's practices. Are they just being smart business savvy or are they crossing a line? Let's discuss.